Welcome back to this episode of Smash Engineering. Today, we're continuing our pool series into the winter. Now, I know it doesn't look like winter because we have this crazy stuff that creates shadows going on. It's been a fairly warm winter, other than just a few days of cold. But you don't often get the chance to do pool maintenance in the wintertime. But as anyone with a pool will tell you, if you're looking at getting a pool, if you're watching this, I assume you probably have a pool. If you leave water in your pool in the wintertime, you put one of these special covers on, and you have a pillow, an air pillow, whatever they call those, holding up your cover, but also you'll get these big, huge pools of water.
Smash Engineering.
Now, when it's cold, this is obviously going to be solid ice, and as it rains or snows and it melts and snows and melts and snows and melts, this is going to fill up. Now, the danger I see, for one, is it's going to keep pulling this cover in. The other issue is if this freezes like today, you have to do this on a kind of a take advantage of a warm, above freezing day when it's not solid ice. You want to remove some of this water so that it has room for more, because we still have a lot of winter left, a lot of rain and snow and freezing weather, I'm assuming. So this is going to build up, and you don't want this to be capped out, flushed, dumping over the edges, because it'll wash out your footing. As you've seen in my previous videos, you don't want that to happen. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you hopefully two ways to get this water out. I'm going to show you a siphon way if I can find a hose. The other way I'm going to show you is the way, if you watched my draining the ladder video, I'm going to use a drill, a Harbor Freight drill, Harbor Freight pump, and a hose that I got from a home maintenance store to pull some of this water out. Now, I don't necessarily want to pull all the water out. You don't want this to be flapping in the wind and such, but I'm going to pull a lot of it out because it's just going to get filled back up again. So this is just like a winter maintenance pool continuation video. So I hope this helps you. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope everyone is enjoying their new year and finding ways to be a better person and a better friend and a better spouse and a better everything. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, thanks to Harbor Freight, I have a fairly cheap Bauer 20-volt lithium drill. I have their, I don't think it has the part number on this, or maybe it does. Their 56847 drill pump, and then these are just feed lines. This was just a solid feed line from a clothes washer feed line that I cut so that I have two, and it threads right onto the drill pump like that. And then this part goes in your drill like this. And then you put your whatever end the arrow comes from down in your water. Make sure you're spinning the drill the right way. And make sure that that's down in the water, because it's never going to work if you're not in the water. This is one way to do it. Another way you could do it is to start a siphon. If you just use just a hose and you create some back pressure, it will siphon out itself. This is going to be a little faster than a siphon because it's a power drain, but both will work pretty effectively. I wanted to show you guys two ways in case you don't have this set up. part 2, you're going to need preferably an old hose or a garden hose, a shorter hose. We're going to take and fill a soda bottle with rocks and water, something that's heavier than the water. And then we're going to take this, tape it, because it needs to. Don't buy cheap tape. Not worth it. Third time's a charm. We'll be right back. I'm gonna get some different tape. Okay, so you're gonna need some tape, and you're gonna tape this hose and some scissors. You're gonna tape the hose to this, and this is just strictly to keep this underwater. Hoses tend to want to float on top of the water, so we'll take that, we'll set that into the water here, and preferably throw it into your deepest spot. So that's well underwater. Now's the gross part. Because this hose doesn't have an end on it, I can't hook it to my drip. Maybe, yeah, really can't. So now you're gonna do like they did in the 70s and get a siphon started. I don't think I did. There's a kink in it, which makes it a lot harder. This is what you're trying to create. You're trying to create a siphon. So if you have a way to do it without sucking on the hose, that's the best way, because you might get a mouthful of this delicious, stagnant swamp water that builds up on top of your pool. I fortunately only got a little bit in my mouth, but basically what you're trying to do is create a siphon. Now this is lower than where we're drawing the water from. So when you suck on the end of that, all you're trying to do is get this water to come up over this point. Once the water starts dropping down this, it's going to create a vacuum and suck more water. So as long as you don't do anything to disturb it, it is going to auto siphon until the other side of the hose has no more water left. So this is the second way, and probably the way that most people can do it. If you have an old hose laying around or a section of hose, you don't want it to be too long, otherwise it's a lot harder to draw a siphon. But this type of way, now we can set it and kind of forget it. As soon as this water is to a low level, and it probably won't get all the water, so if you look, the hose isn't exactly on the bottom, but we don't want it directly on the bottom, because if you see, if one of those leaves suck into that hose, it's not going to drain anymore. So you kind of want it just like how that is. And like I said, I don't want to necessarily pull all the water off of here, just probably 90% of it. So this is how I'm going to leave it. I wanted to show you guys a couple different ways to do it. If you want to be fancy and run your drill, do that. If you have a hose like this that has the normal, the side of the hose that hooks to your house, the female side, if you hook that to the pump that I showed you on the drill, if you hook it to this side, like this, you can just use your drill to get the siphon started, and that's kind of what I wish I could have done. But yeah, so you would just hook that side of the hose to here, run it, maybe even put a little water in the hose to prime it, put it in there, so that way the pump's running with water on it. Run it until you got a good stream out of here, and then unhook this and just lay it down, and it'll sit there and it'll go like it's going. And here's the proof here for those of you who don't believe it will actually work. It's just going to keep going. There's nothing pumping here. It's just gravity. This only works if your pool is above ground, or if you have a yard that's like your pool is higher than a spot in your yard. There has to be a gravity, a height difference between where the water is coming from and where the water is going. Water will not naturally flow uphill by itself. If your water is flowing uphill, you probably need to pinch yourself. You're probably sleeping. So, but yeah, so use a long enough hose. You can get the water out away from, you don't want to flood your yard necessarily. I don't know how many gallons of water this is in here, but it's not going to be terrible. It's going to wash down. This yard is slanted, so it's going to all wash down that way. But you may end up with having to do the siphon a few times. This individual cover has braces on it, so you see there's like a raised spot, and then you see over there's kind of a raised spot. It may only drain this pool here. You might have to do it again for this and that, or come out here every once in a while and push this down to let the water fill into this spot. For the most part though, the water should fill. And yeah, this is not water you want to get in your mouth, so do that whole siphoning thing at your own risk. If you can, use a power tool like this if you're in a situation where you can, and these aren't very expensive. I think it was maybe $9 or $12 or something like that at Harbor Freight. It's called a Drummond drill pump, and the part number is again 56847. That's what it was when I bought it anyway. So, and they look like this. They'll come without a hose, so it'll look like this when you buy it. So this hose I bought like Home Depot or something. It's like $8 for the hose, and so if you buy one hose and cut it, you'll have ends for each side. And I don't know if you can use this for other things. I only use it for water. You probably could use it for, no, it says do not pump caustic or flammable items. So there you go. Solve that mystery for you. But anyway, that's going to pretty much sum up this episode. I don't really see a reason to make you guys drag it out and see it actually empty. I guess maybe I'll take a quick clip of it empty just so you can see it worked. So as you can see, this part here has drained, but over here and beyond this next little raised piece is still a ton of water. I don't know if you can see how deep that is. It's probably a foot deep or so. And then over here, excuse me, over here is only a couple inches deep at the deepest spot here. So I just moved this. If you move it without sucking air in, I just kind of pushed it down and moved it over. You don't have to start the siphon again. So as long as you don't create an air bubble in there, it will still keep flowing. So if you want to do it quicker, you could add more hoses, obviously, but maybe this angle you can see how much deeper it is over there than here. And also gonna have to move it to this side as well. So this is much higher in the, this wasn't, I don't know if you remember from earlier in the video, but this was sunk way down because of all the weight of this water pulling down on it. So just to alleviate some of the stress on all the equipment, we'll drain this off while we have kind of decent weather for winter time. See that little sun peeking out there. Anyway, thanks for watching. We really appreciate everyone who watches these videos, everyone who shares and likes and subscribes. You're awesome. 2023, I'm gonna try to put out some more videos this year. I've gotten some really good feedback in the comment section about how it's helped people, and honestly, if this YouTube channel could help just one person, I'd be happy and feel like it was worthwhile. So the fact that it's helping much more than one person makes me ecstatic and makes me want to put more videos and more effort into the channel. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great new year. I hope we can leave all the negativity and things behind us, move forward, forge new friendships, help people that need it, and just up and away from here. Thanks for watching.